Bill Belichick to UNC is official. What are the expectations for him in college football? The backdrop is the herd. Colin Cowherd, Jason McIntyre, or as Colin refers to him affectionately, J-Mac. So this whole thing with Belichick, I think it's a disaster. I just don't understand it. It makes no sense to me of why they would do this. $10 million a year, the contract we have pulled up here. So the contract is 5 years, $10 million a year, $1 million base, $9 million in supplemental income. The first 3 years are guaranteed. All right, so it's kind of like a pros contract where years 4 and 5 are fake. So think of it as 3 years, $30 million. Okay. Now, there are some interesting things in here. We've heard about the promise that Steve Belichick, his son, will be the head coach in waiting. He's got like $10 million to hire his assistants, which is Matt Patricia. He's brought in Mike Lombardi, who was his GM or an assistant to the head coach in New England. Lombardi hasn't done anything except media since 2016. So, it's all of Belichick's boys. But the interesting part of the deal is here. So his termination prior to June 1st of next year, so 6 months from now, is $10 million. After June 1st, his buyout is only $1 million. So to me, this is basically if an NFL team comes knocking and Belichick's going to go, then there's a chance that he never coaches for UNC. And there's a chance that UNC pays $1 million. It is what it is. Now, it seems like a disaster for both sides. But, another thing, this whole thing, it just seems so weird because it seems like UNC is like 2 years too late for this. The whole reason you would do this is to make your program relevant, right? Well, if that's what you want to do, just go get Dion. Like, if that's what you want, because Belichick's not going to recruit. He's already said that. He's got a team of people he's going to let recruit. He's going to outsource that. All he's going to do is coach, right? And Lombardi's going to handle the GM side of things. His recruiters are going to handle the recruiting side of things. And Belichick is going to coach the games. The problem with that part is, well, he's never coached in college. And he's never really succeeded without Tom Brady. So you got a guy, and I'm not saying he can't coach, but if you want just a really good college football coach, why don't you go get Curt Cignetti? Cignetti makes $8 million a year. If you're going to pay a coach $10 million a year, go get him, right? So on both sides of this, it just doesn't make sense. You also have a 70-year-old guy who is on a 3-year deal, basically, who potentially could leave in 6 months. And all I'm hearing about is how he's going to instill this culture. And he's going to instill this Patriot way. Is he? Because it seems to me like he's going to get basically one batch of recruits, see what he can do in 3 years, unless he gets an NFL job, and then he's gone pecan. Like, again, if you want to build a culture, if you want to build a winning way, Curt Cignetti is right there in Indiana. He's making $8 million a year. Offer him $2 million or more, bada bing, bada boom. Give him the same stuff you gave Belichick. That's how you build a culture. And I also think it's very ironic that all I keep hearing about is, well, Bill Belichick is not going to stand for the demands that all these NIL players are making happen. He's not going to sit there and listen to some 18-year-old say, I want to do this, and I want to have this many snaps, and I want to have that, and I want to have this. He's not going to do that. That's not how he rolls. When that's exactly what he did to UNC. Exactly what he did to UNC was, I want these coaches, I want my son to do this, I want a car to and from the country club, I want this, I want he is basically treating this as a NIL prospect, less of a head coach trying to build something. This is just, I think, wrong in all the ways. I would say this is wrong. So let's go ahead and hear what Colin has to say about this.
It's official. Yeah. So Bill Belichick's the coach of Carolina. We both love college football, so it's another talking point. So I'm going to talk more college football, and I love that.
Yeah.
Fascinating this morning, though. Seth Wickersham is a first-ballot Hall of Fame writer and reporter for ESPN. He has got a behind-the-scenes story over the last year on Belichick Go read it. Seth Wickersham, tremendous. And he talks about, Belichick would meet with Matt Patricia. He would meet with Mike Lombardi, who he just hired at Carolina. I know Mike a little bit. And they would go on Zoom calls and talk about the NFL and what's coming open. And that, Belichick kind of got disgusted by the NFL and that nobody was really interested. Now, he did think the Bears was the best job opening this year. I agree, I think. But he didn't think they'd hire him. The New York Giants job he would take, but he thinks Brian Daboll's a good coach. So do I, and will retain the job. He would never do the Jets. Jacksonville wasn't happening. So here we go. The story is fascinating. And my takeaway on reading this is kind of the same with a lot more illumination, is that, you know what, when you keep doors shut on people for 20 years, don't be surprised that when the doors open, there's not a lot of people there with open arms for you.
Well, I think Belichick, as far as him not being able to find an NFL job, for what he wants, if you're an NFL team, who wants to do that? The big draw for Belichick is for an owner or a GM or a president or whatever to be able to say, I hired Bill Belichick. The press conference is the Super Bowl. That first press conference where you're introducing the most winningest coach to ever live. You're introducing the guy who is the architect and the backbone for the greatest dynasty the NFL has ever seen. That is the whole draw. That draw comes with a bunch of negatives. Those negatives are he wants to hire his cronies as his staff. We already know who his staff is going to be every single place he goes. It's some combination of Josh McDaniel, Matt Patricia, Mike Lombardi. In this case, in North Carolina, I think he's hiring Josh McDaniels. Is it his brother? He's hiring someone related to Josh McDaniels. So we know how that's going to look. We know his son is going to be on the staff wherever he goes. And we know he wants to have GM control and roster control. And if you're an NFL team, it is absolutely fair to look at his drafts at the end in New England and look at those and say, man, these are like F- drafts. This is a guy who I don't know if he was just, the game passed or the roster building passed him by. I don't know. But there is no doubt about it. There's no arguing. He was absolutely whiffing on draft classes at the end of New England. So you got a guy who has not won nothing without Tom Brady. You got a guy who wants basically complete control over the entire franchise. Oh, and he's 70 years old. So if you're an NFL team, it's like, why would you do that? You got to really love that press conference to do that.
Tom Brady and Belichick, 20 years, never went to dinner. Tom Brady's documentary, his then wife Giselle pleading, would you please show Tom respect? Relationships more than ever matter in the NFL. It's not just IQ, it's IQ and EQ. And I think Belichick clearly, preferably, would not want the ACC's fourth best football job. But that's all that was out there. The NFL is much more collaborative today. It's much more Sean McVay than do your job. It's us, not me. Doors were closed. The Athletic.
Well, here's the bottom line. It'd be one thing if Belichick would have done what Brady did. If Brady leaves and the Patriots still win the Super Bowl, or the Patriots still go to the AFC title game, or Belichick is still rattling off 12 wins and 13 wins and turning whatever quarterback into a superstar. Fact of the matter is, he didn't. And it was kind of ugly at the end. So, if you got a guy who's winning and doing all that and acting the way Belichick acted his entire career, who cares? People look the other direction when you have results. When you don't have results.
Also, excellent reporting this morning on why Belichick abandoned hope of landing NFL jobs. One executive said he burned a lot of bridges. Another said people would be concerned about the culture he would create in the building. Yeah. Again, Belichick leaned in to his terse nature, his rigidity, his cutthroat personality. And you're not going to change the perception because you take a TV job for a year, smile more, occasionally laugh, and make us all believe it's all rainbows and sunshine. People know what Bill is. We know what Bill is. Bill knows what Bill is. And Carolina's like, we'll roll the dice on it. So, and again, I love college football. I hope it works. I'm not rooting for it not to work.
This is going to sound crazy. There is probably, 10 coaches in college, just like off the top of my head, that I would rather have than Bill Belichick as far as a coach. And that's not even counting like recruiters, like someone like Deion. I don't consider Deion a great coach, but he is an elite level, probably the most elite recruiter in college football. I would rather have Deion Sanders as my head coach if I was UNC than Bill Belichick, because I believe he can do the same as far as bringing in players, or he's the same draw, arguably better. I would say not even an argument. Better of a recruiter in a draw, and I would assume he's going to be there longer and actually build the culture that I don't think Bill's going to build.
But again, if you act a certain way for a long time, you're going to meet a lot of the people you burned on the way down, and there's no job openings. People are not interested. And let's be honest, the NFL doesn't need anybody. Drew Brees retired. Brady retired. Peyton Manning retired. You know what happened to the ratings? They went up. This is not a league to toy with. They don't need TV networks. Now they've got streamers. So the long-standing networks, are they necessary? Thank God they've all got 10, 11-year deals starting this year. But the league doesn't need anybody. This is not the NBA where your ratings hinge on an MJ.
Yeah, I think the most rated or the highest rated NFL game, like regular season NFL game, was this past Thanksgiving with the Cowboys and the Giants. And those quarterbacks were Cooper Rush and Drew Lock. So yeah, the NFL is just an absolute monster.
Or a shack. This is not golf where your economy, your ecosystem largely hinges on like the Masters or Tiger Woods. That's not what the NFL is. And Bill was perpetually difficult, perpetually dismissive of opinions that didn't align with his. And guess what? He's going to have a place in Canton. It's a first ballot decision. He is widely respected as the greatest defensive coach of all time. But the Patriots are 3-2 right now. And at this time last year, they were 3-10 with Belichick. 3-10 now. 3-10 now. 3-10 last year with Belichick.
Yeah, the Patriots, you could say the Patriots are better this year. I would say that. Like, I would say they're better, and they're about to fire Gerard Mayo. Like, he hasn't been successful. But, I think a lot of the problems in New England post-Brady was this, like, weird nepotism best friends club that Belichick had, where it was just, oh, Patricia got fired, bring him in. Oh, my son's on the staff? Yeah, sure. Oh, this guy who hasn't done anything, he got fired? He used to work for me. Bring him in. Let him handle. Like, at one point, Patricia I think he was calling the offensive plays. Like, it became a disaster where Patricia gets fired as a DC. All of a sudden, he's working on the offensive side of the ball for the Patriots. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
He'll go to Canton, and he deserves it. But it's a different league. It's a league that waits for nobody. It's a league that doesn't need anybody. Mahomes in 9 years retires. There'll be another crop of superstar quarterbacks. They can certainly do without a great coach at 72. There were no doors open. It's not all the NFL's fault. Bill closed a lot of those doors. Again,
I just don't think he had a lot to offer. I know it sounds crazy, but again, for what the package was, I don't think there was enough on the table for an NFL team to be interested in that. If it is just Bill Belichick, the coach, okay, you might have an argument there. But the circus that he brings in, the attitude he has, like Colin said, the culture, all of that, like, again, for a 70-year-old guy, what are you doing that for? What's the trade-off? There isn't anything there. There isn't anything there to entice you to put up with what Belichick makes you put up with.
Seth Wickersham article, must read, a lot of great intel. Now, here is something I actually think, and this is fascinating. So Mike Lombardi, who is now a media person, has been hired by Belichick to be his GM. Now, I've had multiple conversations with athletic directors in the last 9 to 12 months. This is the future of college football. General managers.
Yeah, it has to be because of the NIL stuff, because of the contracts, because of the way that everything works now. It's not just head coach goes and recruits and you bring the players in and that's it. Every program in college is eventually going to have GMs. Again, newsflash, guys, like college football, college sports are professional sports. They're the minor leagues. They are a different version of pro sports. So it only makes sense that GMs are involved. You can't expect the head coach to also deal with the NIL puzzle, deal with boosters and sponsorships and TV deals and bowl games and all that. They just want to coach. So, yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense.
In fact, I met with Jen Cohen at USC. We had a long lunch over this. This is the future of the sport. And so Belichick sees that and is hiring Mike Lombardi, an ally, a confidant for years, to be his GM. And it's full NFL. They're not even masquerading.
But UNC is not the first to do this. I mean, there's a bunch of other programs across different sports that have GM.
Rating that it's college. They're not even trying to fool anybody. This is the NFL, so that is the future. Now, how well will Belichick do? Well, it should be noted, Indiana, a basketball school, Arizona State, a baseball school, at least it was for years, and SMU just made the playoff. So Belichick can compete. And
yeah, but you could also argue that one, Arizona State has one of the best young head coaches in college, and depends on who you ask, the best running back in college football. SMU, same situation where you've got a superstar quarterback, you've got a great young head coach, and Indiana, like I've said a million times in this video, has arguably the best coach in college football. And they're all young, they're all building cultures, they all got something real there.
Also has a personnel guy. So I don't think Belichick is the perfect personality fit. But I think like coaching and personnel, he'll be fine. Now, Lombardi, who I know a little, and Belichick are terse. They're outspoken. They can be curt. They're very direct.
They're old school, which is the opposite of what's happening in Indiana, SMU, and Arizona State, the examples Colin just gave. Those examples, you got high-flying offenses, you got young head coaches, you got a completely different style of ball. Here, you got a 72-year-old defensive-minded coach who's never coached at this level, and you got a GM. I love Michael Lombardi, all right? So this is nothing against Lombardi. This is just the facts. And you got a GM who hasn't worked as an executive since 2016. So it's like the opposite of what you want to do. In college and even in the pros, you want to innovate. You want to get younger. I mean, look at Tennessee. Like, Josh Heupel and the way that Tennessee plays offense is the absolute antithesis or antithesis, as some of my friends would say, of what Belichick does. I mean, the Lance Leopolds, the Josh Heupels, the Kurt Signettis, the Dan Lannings, even like the Lane Kiffins. Like, Brian Kelly looks like a dinosaur in college. And Brian Kelly just had a team with the Heisman winner. So, and Brian Kelly looks like, Sean McVay compared to Bill Belichick.
That will rub a lot of people on a college campus the wrong way. They will have no interest going to galas with the other coaches in the athletic department. They are pros. They're going to come in with a certain arrogance and belief, and they don't care about your volleyball program or your swim program. They don't care. And there's a lot of high maintenance and needy coaching and overmatched administrators at the college level. So I don't think it's going to be a coaching issue with Bill. He'll be great. I don't think it's going to be a personnel issue. Mike Lombardi will do fine.
I think it will be a personnel issue, not with Lombardi. But if you're a college player, why would you want to go play for Belichick? Like, think about the power that collegiate athletes have. They can go anywhere in the country. They can go to any campus they want. They can play for any coach in any style that they want. Why would you choose to go play at UNC under a defensive head coach who you know is old school, terse, a bastard? Like, you know all that stuff. Why would you go there? Why wouldn't you go play for one of the flashier schools with one of the younger coaches? Why? What is the answer? Is playing for Bill Belichick somehow going to get you in the league? No. Absolutely not. Lincoln Riley is over there at USC. Lincoln Riley's had, 4 Heisman winners? Dan Lanning, chilling over there at Oregon. Why wouldn't you go there? Why wouldn't you go to anywhere else? I mean, go hang out with Sark in Austin. There's a lot of places that you can go that will get you to the same place you want to go, a.k.a. Heisman, a.k.a. winning, a.k.a. national championships, a.k.a. the league. Go to Georgia. If you want to play for a better version of Bill Belichick, go to Georgia. Kirby Smart is the college football version of Bill Belichick. Defensive head coach, absolute bulldog, get in your face, chew you out. The only difference between Kirby Smart and Bill Belichick is that Kirby Smart is winning at the college level, and Kirby Smart has proved that he can win at the college level. That's it. So I don't see what the draw would be. I actually think it is the opposite. I actually think it's the opposite of what a college player wants. A college player or a recruit, they want to play for Dion because Dion and that program can give them what they want. Media deals, a bigger spotlight for their own individual brands. They understand that. We saw, Colorado's practice jerseys has the Instagram and TikTok and Twitter handles on the back of the jersey. You think Bill Belichick's going to do that? No. So if you're a recruit, where are you going to go? You going to go play for Dion at Colorado? Or are you going to play for Bill Belichick? I don't think it's even a question. I don't think it's even a debate. And it's not like North Carolina is a program that, people are begging to go to. If Dabo Swinney is considered a relic and not playing by the rules of college football, like I think we saw the stat this year where 0 players have started for Clemson that have came from the transfer portal or whatever. Like he is a relic, but compared to Belichick,
but dealing with donors in this ever fluid collective NIL. Here's the thing. Bill loves structure. College football doesn't have any.
None.
It used to have some. Now it's got very little. So what Bill's doing, if you watch this move with Lombardi, he's bringing in structure. We're going to run a pro football operation. And again, it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. The personality with Lombardi and Belichick, that's going to be interesting.
Unless he's bringing in Tom Brady in this NFL structure, maybe I'm on the outside looking in here, but Bill Belichick showing up with a cardboard box full of Mike Lombardi, Matt Patricia, Steve Belichick, and him saying, I'm not talking to any boosters. I'm not messing with no NIL. I'm not going to any galas, or I'm not talking to any other coaches. I'm not recruiting. We're building an NFL program. That sounds like shit. That doesn't, Colin, don't look at me like that. That doesn't sound like it's going to work. That sounds like the ultimate round peg into a square hole. Pause. It does not sound like what a program needs, especially for $10 million a year. I believe there's only 8 coaches in college that make $10 million or more. Someone double check me. Does it sound like Bill Belichick should be part of that group when he's coming in saying, here's who I'm bringing, here's my plan, don't ask me to do any recruiting, don't ask me to meet with any boosters, I'm not interested in NIL, I'm not interested in any of that. Oh, by the way, my son is the DC, he's your next head coach. Oh, by the way, you see that guy over there chewing on the pencil? That's Matt Patricia. He's been fired by every team in the NFL. He has never succeeded at all. He's on the staff. See that guy up there, Mike Lombardi? He's been doing radio for the last 8 years. Whatever. He's the GM. So, all right, see ya. Where's my car? I'm heading to the country club.
The football and the players, the collective by North Carolina, reportedly is going from $4 million, which is laughable, to $18 to $20 million. So they'll get players. But I'm rooting for it. I love the sport. It's another talking point. But there will be clashes. I think it will start. It'll be fun. And it's the.
I think the major clash will be with Belichick and the win-loss record. Because I think the last I saw, Vegas opened the season win total at 6.5. 7 maybe is the high point. Sweet. Cool. Year one. I mean, if year one is you making the Gasparilla Bowl because Bill Belichick won 6 games, cool. You got 2 more years of that for $30 million.
The headlines, it's powder blue. It's going to look nice. And there will be feathers ruffled on that campus. And I can't wait. And I'll listen, I have a graphic. Here's North Carolina's schedule next year. And again, they've got players. Mac Brown could recruit. I mean, their road games are Cal and Wake Forest and Charlotte and Syracuse. You know, we're not talking the AFC West.
Yeah, I mean, pretty easy schedule. Like, yeah, pretty mediocre schedule, no doubt.
Or the NFC North. Their home games, Stanford, Duke, Virginia.
Now, Duke did just get my boy, Mensa, from Tulane at quarterback. So
yeah, like an
loaded
academic all-star roster. Richmond, Clemson. So there's no reason why Bill Belichick could not peel off a 10-1. I would not be surprised by that at all if they can get quarterback just solid.
Brother, 10-1. If you think North Carolina can win 10 games next year, get out of the studio, fly to Vegas, and put everything you got on it. Because North Carolina to win, to make the playoff, North Carolina to win the conference, North Carolina, all those, I mean, that's going to be astronomical odds. Like, this is the same thing we heard about Deion's first year in Colorado. First year, all we heard was national champions, they can win this, they can win that. They didn't win nothing. I'll give him this year. They've been pretty good. I'll give him this. Now, granted, he's got the 2 best players in college football, but this year Colorado's been good. They've been respectable, no doubt. But this is the same. This is the exact same thing, but worse for North Carolina because Deion brought players. Deion brought the best quarterback in college and the best player in college in Travis Hunter. Pretty good security blanket. So would this Colorado thing have worked without Shedeur and Travis Hunter? Probably not. So Belichick, he's not bringing any of those guys. And guess what? He doesn't want to recruit. So
solid. I don't worry at all about the coaching or the personnel. They're ramping up that's not it. And I think for a year, you'll look at it and go, oh, it is humming. But we got pictures here, Bill in Chapel Hill. Listen, he's got a new girlfriend. It's younger. He's excited. It's a college campus. It could, maybe he is going to be turning a new leaf. It's gregarious and joyful, Bill. But the football coaching's fine. The personality fit with Lombardi is going to be really interesting. It's like Charlie Weiss at Notre Dame. Charlie Weiss, the schemes were fine. He wore everybody out. Charlie wore people out. The schemes were smart. That wasn't.
He also had a totally different era. Totally different time, totally different era. Charlie Weiss also had like All-Americans across the field, NFL-level players across the field. Totally different era.
The issue. Hi, everybody. It's me,
yeah.
Uncle Colin.
Uncle Colin, what's up? That was crazy. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it'll work. I don't like it for UNC. I am more confident, and I'm not saying this will happen, but I would be more confident in him never coaching for UNC and being bought out by June 1st. I would be more confident in that happening than him being successful coaching at UNC. I would be absolutely flabbergasted if this worked out. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Am I wrong on this? Am I right? Do you think Belichick will turn it around? Do you think Belichick will create the Patriot way that never existed without Tom Brady at UNC? Let me know in the comments. I will see you in the next video.